And I shall kick off today's presentation. Okay. See if that actually wants to present. Awesome. Okay, folks. Welcome to today's town hall. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining. As always, just going to kick it off with a couple of housekeeping notes as people slowly enter the room. So, as always, we are live streaming on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn, and obviously recording as part of that. So, if at any point you get disconnected, please go ahead, go to our YouTube page, and you'll be able to see the video there as well. Feel free to add your comments there as well if needed, and we can keep an eye on that and look out for questions there. As usual, we'll start off with some company and product updates for the first half of the session, and then we'll move into some audience Q&A. Feel free to use Q&A functionality at the bottom of the screen to type out your questions. As we get into the second half, when we're actually doing the Q&A, you can also use the raise hand function, which is under the reactions button. That allows us to see if you want to come on stage to ask your question live and in person. Cool. So before we kind of get into some more company updates, there's a couple of marketing updates from myself. So I talked about this 2 weeks ago. I just wanted to kind of do one more call out for this conference that we have coming up next week. Going to be a fantastic event. We're inviting hosts and software providers from across the industry to talk about direct and AI, and specifically looking at tips for you as hosts to grow. So ways that you can kind of build your business. Really not going to be sales pitches here, really looking at this being kind of a useful place to kind of grow and learn and talk to other hosts as well. So I highly recommend registering for that event and checking it out. For those folks that register but can't attend, we'll also send you the recordings directly to your inbox. Here's just a quick look at some of the providers that are going to be talking at that event. But I'll kind of leave it at that. Have a quick scan of that before I move on. You can obviously find more details at that link. And then just moving on to another piece of news, a very exciting piece of news for us. So way back in October, myself, Pierre, Emily, Andrew, and one of our customers, who's actually probably on the call, Nee, went down to Orlando, or just south of Orlando, actually, to do a bit of TV filming. And actually, the fruit of that labor is kind of coming to harvest now. And essentially tonight, our new commercial will actually be broadcast on Fox Business Network. So for folks with cable in the US, you can check that out. It's going to be aired around 10 p.m. Unfortunately, we don't have the exact time because it's, they changed their schedules within the last minute or two. So please, have it on in the background, listen out for us coming on there. You'll hear our voices. Recommend checking that out. Also, though, starting from Thursday, we're going to be on, next Thursday, we're going to be on public broadcast television as well. So we've got kind of a nice demo there to kind of explain a bit more about Hospitable. And that's actually on kind of an interstitial programming that's hosted by Meg Ryan. So if you want to go and check out that video of the clip that's going to be shared, you can scan that QR code and go and check it out on YouTube. So very excited for that. Some massive distribution for us, obviously on the Fox Business Network, but also on over 170 public television stations as well. So that's cool to see. And then next up, I think I'm going to start talking about this and then Pierre's going to jump in, but we've also had some fantastic awards this week. I think they actually came in on Friday, potentially. But again, G2 has rated us very highly, and that has been shown by these fantastic rewards badges that we've received, and really showing our position in the industry among other vacation rental software providers. Pierre, I don't know if you want to add a few comments to that piece.
Yeah, I had a few. So first of all, I wanted to thank our investors that basically allowed us to license that content so that we can share it with you. So the information that you will be able to access on that link, hsptb.com/G2, is actually supposed to be private information known only to vendors, and then they can license it obviously to their own customers. You can see on that graph why we are very interested in licensing that content. We are the #1 in user satisfaction. It's been for several quarters running. And then you can get access to a lot more data, basically, behind the scenes, and take it as a pool of active customers of all those other products. They are obviously the most satisfied of the customers, like obviously every vendor will be inviting very commonly. And they can basically give you some actually interesting data points if you're looking at what the situation is elsewhere. One of the challenges that we have at Hospitable is that we're very often one of the first, if not the very first software that you connect to your Airbnb or Vrbo account. So we are very subject to the grass is greener kind of syndrome. And so that's interesting to keep in mind and to keep in check about the situation elsewhere. I'm going to drop a few names. You are able to get access to the same content. But what I wanted to highlight is a situation for Hostaway. The most extreme satisfied users of Hostaway say they have a 76% of feature adoption. Guesty has a 76% feature adoption. A customer of Hostaway believes that they have a return on their investment within 12 months. A super excited, super satisfied customer of Guesty gets a return over investment in 14 months. And compare that with Hospitable, it's not 76% feature adoption, it's 90%. And the payback time is within 5 months. After 5 months, you get that. Now, obviously, those are not the same products. And those are very different focus points on who they are serving. And this point is totally legit. I'm not getting a haircut until we're able to have owner statements, accounting integration, trust accounting, and auto pay for owners. So I don't care. I'm going to get an afro. I've been having that for plenty of times in my life. This is justified. So I would encourage you really to check out the content so they can get the gossip that every vendor knows about. And meanwhile, I'm getting to rally my team on basically bridging the gap on the feature set so that we can work and be really peers with those other products. So yeah, thank you very much. I can jump onto the next line because it's going to take a lot of sweat and tears of joy to get there. So I just wanted to provide an update that we're still very actively recruiting. First, software engineers, that's really very important to us. So we see to have everywhere. And we're recruiting for all teams, be it core and connectivity. So having the pleasure of working with Emily and Alisa that you will hear the product updates a little bit later. That can be for working with Direct, with Andrew. That could also be working with Platform, yet again with Emily. So that's really fantastic opportunities. You get the total compensation number here. I really recommend you check it out if you're expert on Laravel and PHP. Obviously, the job that's probably the most critical in this company right now is head of support. So we're looking for a people manager. Interviews are starting. The competition is extremely fierce on the profiles that we're recruiting. We hope that we're putting the money on the table just as much. Just realize, for all things about support that you hear or you're feeling, there is currently no manager, no representative, an executive committee about basically the support department, which is half of a company. So that tells you that for all the satisfaction that our customers are having, which is above 90% for this quarter straight, this is still with a lot of room for optimization and improvement. And so that head of support's mission is to be able to allow Hospitable to grow, to support 20 times the load that we have today. So that's about, and my pen is breaking. That's about, crushing it, getting higher response time, get better response time, still get the same quality and get the same customer satisfaction. Challenge with the support, we believe, is not on quality. It's absolutely on the velocity of getting back to you. So on that note, I'll get to the product updates on a subject that really is number one in this company right now, and that is AI. Thank you very much. Andrew, what's up?
Yeah, so AI, we're starting to benefit from really putting more focus and resources. So management has all eyes on AI, and we've got some fun updates coming. We made a couple updates since the last town hall on the Improve with AI function. This is now available to all hosts. We provide full property context now. That wasn't there from the start. So if you tried it previously and it wasn't quite as artificially intelligent as it should have been, that's probably why. So we've now updated that prompt and it's sending all of your property context with it. So it should be smarter now. So give it a try if you haven't recently. And based on feedback, maybe from this town hall, maybe from the other feedback channels you have for us, we added an undo button. So if you don't like the response, you can get back your typed answer and send that again, add some more context. Basically, you're prompting us to give you an answer, and then we'll improve your tone, give you a more personalized, longer response, and put it into maybe nice words if you're upset and don't trust your tone with a guest. But yeah, give that a try. Coming up next, this is available for an undetermined percentage of the beta audience right now. So basically, this new sidebar that Emily's mainly going to tell you about, we've moved guest insights there. We're doing a lot of detailed finances and everything, but the AI portion of this is we're looking at all of the past reviews we have access to of the guest, and we're trying to summarize and pick out anything that's really interesting to pay attention to that you don't need to read through all of their reviews to get. So yeah, if they have special needs, if there are certain things that they mention in their reviews of other properties that they either like or they don't like, we're going to try and help you be a better host by seeing that. So again, Emily will cover how many people have visibility on this and kind of more of the rollout schedule. We're being kind of cautious rolling out this new sidebar because it's a big change in the UI and we don't want to scare you guys. So look forward to that if you haven't seen it yet. Two review features to talk about. So we have this replies to guest reviews. These are the public replies on Airbnb that you have up to, I think, 30 days after receiving a review from a guest that you can do a public reply. This should be an easy thing to automate with AI. So we have the prompt is actually running now. We're starting to test the results from that prompt and modify the prompt and the front end work for that. So how that's going to look for you in Hospitable is currently in progress. So if you look at the next slide, this is a mock-up, but that's currently being built. We're going to start to bring reviews into the inbox as kind of a new message type you see there, so you get better visibility on them. So this is what it's going to look like, or similar to what it'll look like when you get a review from a guest, and we're going to already pre-populate a reasonable, personal, empathetic reply to that review for you. All you have to do is take a quick look, give it a review, and then click submit, and you're going to be able to process a lot more public replies, have better engagement on the platform, everything that Airbnb likes to see. The other review function we have coming on the next slide is actually writing reviews. So we have an automated review feature already on Hospitable, of course, but we use static templates. And so we randomly just assign a static template to a review, and that's nice, and it gives everyone 5 stars, and you can interject when there's a problem. We want to do a better job with AI. So instead of using static templates, we think we can do a better job with the prompt. And even in negative situations, we think we can help out. So if we look at what this is going to look like, again, it's going to come into the inbox. And if you're using those templates, you're going to see your template reply, whichever one we chose here. But if you click to edit that the review now is when you can start to experiment with what the prompt can do for you. So again, this is either going to be your default template, or if you've enabled AI reviews, this is not live yet. When you do, you would see our AI prompted review first for a 5-star review, assuming that you want to give this guest an excellent review. Otherwise, you can click on edit, and we'll see the next slide. We're going to pull you into kind of a full screen review feature from the inbox and let you change your review on this guest. So again, we default to excellent for all guests, and then you can tell us, hey, actually, this was a terrible guest. All of these options, so terrible, bad, okay, good, have a prompted response ready to go. So you can switch and say, hey, actually, I want to give this guest a terrible review. We're going to update the rest of the form for you. So we're going to do that bad review feature where we delay timing it. If you tell us it's a terrible review, we're going to send that in the last few seconds of the Airbnb review window, so you don't get a retaliatory reply, or at least you don't prompt a retaliatory reply, and we'll update the star count for you. And you can obviously customize any of those. You can decide to leave private feedback. That's disabled by default. But we're really just exposing more of the content and trying to automate as much of that as possible using AI. So those features are both in development now and should be released, hopefully at least the review replies and possibly even this feature by the next town hall. Moving on. On the direct side, this will be super quick. We haven't deployed a lot of these updates because we're all working on big projects right now. So unfortunately, I don't have a lot to announce today. We've been busy doing a lot of just general support issues, investigations. I finally got into taxes. I think you guys convinced me last town hall that yes, we do need to actually solve these kind of pending tax issues. So to whoever lives in Myrtle Beach, we fixed your tax issue for you. Thank you for your patience. whoever lives in Wisconsin or has properties in Wisconsin, your midterm estimated taxes are now fixed. I think Utah and the state of New York are next. So we're going to be looking at those things, finally taking care of some of those issues as we get the tax filing and remittance going. Again, it's a big project. It's taking time, but we're making progress on it. Otherwise, on the site builder side, if you've been on the last 2 town halls, you know we moved off of a previous vendor. Now we're getting set up on our own sites. Most people have migrated. If you have a custom domain, please check your email. You do need to take action with your DNS, and we're just kind of still reacting and improving and responding to feedback to that. Like some people noticed some of the HTML that they had in their site description wasn't working in templates. So we're fixing those kind of things, fixing things with the checking your SSL certs, those kind of things on the site builder. Once we get all kind of settled, we'll be able to start making progress on really nice improvements to the sites. On the quote side, we got a lot of feedback on how to do a better job with custom quotes. Those are coming. We're going to be doing things like, letting you go around the direct premium guest verification if it's a repeat guest and rely on a previous verification so we don't bother them again. We're going to flip the screen so you can go straight into the price quote and look at a price while you're talking to the guest before you enter their information. So nice improvements there. And then again, the payment terms project. So letting people pay a deposit and then pay in installments for large bookings. We had a big booking last week, $65,000 booking on direct last week. We don't want people to pay up front for that. That's great that whatever host got that. Congratulations. That's a huge booking. It's also a year lead time. There's no reason we need to force guests to pay upfront a year out for such a large booking. We want to take that in deposits and installments and make that a better process and convert more of those big bookings for you without having the guest to pay upfront. So the first stage of that is probably going live in the next couple of days, which is kind of an intermediate feature, which is when any payment fails, that can be an alteration currently. We're going to be notifying the guest and giving them a payment flow to put in an alternative payment method. So less of those hosts will kind of get stuck in purgatory of my payment method on file has insufficient funds or is expired or is not working. We're going to automate that flow. We need that also for the payment terms. So that first feature will go live early. And then that's actually the hardest part of it as well. So hopefully the actual feature of payment terms will be live very soon as well. And that's all I have from Direct. I'll see you in the Q&A. Oh, one more slide. Reminder, if you see this on your booking widget, again, this does not apply to hospitable sites. We were trying to shut these down at the end of March. We're still not doing this because we're still having such a hard time communicating to people. Please, if you don't have a current booking widget, please check out the support articles. Please check out the emails we've been trying to send you. You really need to update soon because we're going to stop providing availability if you're using a legacy booking widget. You know that if you see this message at the bottom of your booking widget. This is only for people that have self-hosted sites. You have your own custom-built site and you're using a legacy booking widget, you do need to update. So please check the help desk for the instructions on how to do that. Thank you.
All right. World of smart locks. First off, you've heard me talking about this every town hall, but the device dashboard is now available to all users. We took a lot of feedback from our pilot and beta users as we went along in this. The features that you'll see, you can check them out now by going to the devices section of your Hospitable account. You can see all of your reservation codes. You can see when it was used. You can check out the battery status of all your devices, create manual operations codes, lock and unlock your devices. Big one for notifications is, besides the fact that, well, you can get notifications now and everything, you can select to see them only in your dashboard, like you can see in the screenshot here up at the top. You can also select to get them via a push notification in the mobile and desktop app and via email. We also have the option to select a low battery threshold for each device. So, if your battery runs out super fast and you need to know when it's at 50%, you can set it at that. Or if it's right downstairs and easy for you to get to, you can set it for something a lot lower. So something that works more personalized to you. But please check that out. There's a new setup page as well to help streamline the process if you are not already a user for our smart locks. upcoming features you'll see on the dashboard. You'll see more notification options. We're also working on an audit log of all events, changes, who made them, where the changes happened, and all that, so you can keep track of everything that's going on with your devices. We are also working on the ability to bulk create operations codes at multiple properties. Right now, you have to do it one property at a time. Obviously, if you're wanting to create a single code for your cleaners, you want it to be the same. You don't have to do that across 20 properties. So we're working on that. We're also working on a way for you to connect devices that don't create reservation codes. For instance, like your cleaning supply closet or something like that. You'd be able to keep track of all of your codes and devices there, but not allow any guests into those. And finally, the ability to convert codes that were not created by us, that already existed on your lock, and convert those over to being managed within the device dashboard so that you really can get the full scope of everything going on in the lock. Right now, if the code was created outside of Hospitable, then you can't see that. Working on that as well. Other big news is we have a lot more supported locks, including many new Yale locks, August, Cadas, UTech, Alfred Phillips, Philia. There's a bunch. It's quite a long list. Please go and check out our Which Smart Locks Do We Support article. I spent, I want to say, hours updating yesterday so that y'all could check that out and start using the smart locks if you weren't previously able to. And if there are any locks on there that you use that you would like to see added, please be sure to go to our feedback area and add a vote for any locks that you need or any other devices that you need that we don't currently support. The most important thing to note, I think, about all this is that if you're using smart things, what we found now is that every single lock, if you can connect it to smart things and you can control it via smart things and it has a keypad, or at least has a keypad accessory, we can support it via the smart things integration. So that is quite a lot of locks. So have fun with that. And that is it for me. Emily.
I love seeing people get excited about an audit log. That's great. Awesome. Hey, everybody, good to see you. I will start with the news that email password logins are back. We shared this in our last town hall that we were about to do this, and we have since done it. You can log in with your email and password again. When you're doing that for the first time, you are still going to get a magic link in your email that you have to click. That's just to register your device. Once you do register your device, we will save that if you tell us to save that all the time. And from that point forward, you can log in with your email and password every time. So yay, that'll be a lot easier for you to get in. You can also view your trusted devices from within Hospitable. So you can go to settings, preferences, security, look at all the devices that your account has trusted and revoke that. If you see anything that looks fishy, or if you have a team member that you don't want to access it anymore, you can do that from there. So yay. Next, let's go on to the new reservation sidebar that Andrew talked about. Okay, let me pull up my numbers because we do know numbers. So this has been rolled out to 25% of beta hosts, which is 922 of you. And 535 of you have looked at it for more than 20 seconds and given me awesome feedback. Not all 535 gave feedback, but many of you gave great feedback. So I want to share a little bit about what this sidebar is intending to do, our plans with it, and kind of talk a little bit about the rollout plan. So let's go to the next screen and we'll kind of drill into each thing specifically. So first is the reservation details. Now this, we're typically talking about the right sidebar, but this is actually an update on the left sidebar that kind of goes along with these changes. We've made some updates to how this reservation details section looks. We're linking out to the listing. You can click to copy the reservation code. And most importantly, for those of you who have access and it looks like this, we're displaying gross revenue here. Before we used to display subtotal, which kind of didn't really mean much. There wasn't a lot of clarity on how that was calculated. Now we're displaying the gross revenue. This is the money that goes in your pocket before you have to pay out cleaners and whatnot. So that's one update there. Next, the property details section. This is on the right side. Now, the intention here is to give your team members, maybe they're secondary users, maybe they're not as familiar with your properties, easy access to details about the property that they might need when they're in conversation with your guest. So maybe the guest is lost, they need their address, the Wi-Fi name, whatever it may be. You can easily reference that and click to copy all of those things and throw it in your conversation, as well as easy access to the house rules for that particular property. Next. All right, this is the one I like the most. Just maybe I'm nerding out about the financials, but we're giving you now insight into the financials from a reservation level. So we used to just dump a bunch of financials in what we called the details modal. You had to click, it opened up, and it was just all in there, and it wasn't really structured in a way that led to understanding. And so now we've kind of restructured this, redesigned it so that it's very clear and easy to tell what it is you're actually looking at. So the top part that says reservation financials, these are the financials like from the host perspective. So this is a breakdown of everything. If you add it all up, you get to the gross revenue. So this brings a lot of visibility into how we're actually calculating the gross revenue. This is aligned also with what you see in metrics, but at the reservation level. So you can always dig into that. It also aligns with what you're going to expect to see on the actual platform app. So if you've got an Airbnb reservation, we heard from a lot of hosts that you get an Airbnb reservation, you'd see it in Hospitable, and then you'd open up the Airbnb app to check the numbers there because they gave a little bit more of a breakdown. Now we're actually pulling those same numbers in and showing it to you here. So we hope that it leads to a little less app switching. You can get what you need a lot faster this way. And then the bottom section, guest payment. Oh, sorry, Miles. I said my and then, which usually means to change slide. The guest payment section is the financials from the guest perspective. So this is like what they paid, what they see that they paid for accommodation, what the fees that they paid, even if they didn't end up in your hands. Maybe it was a service fee, or maybe it was taxes that the platform remitted for you. This is helpful if they ask a question and you might not necessarily know what they paid in taxes because you didn't receive it, but now you do, and you can quickly answer that question for them. So financials from the host perspective and reservation financials, and from the guest perspective in the guest payment section. Okay, now we can go next. Okay, so what's next for this? We've received a lot of feedback on how this is today, and we're implementing some of that feedback before we expand to the rest of our beta hosts, which is about a third of our users. So we're hopefully going to be expanding to our beta host later this week, and then we want to hear more feedback from you. So we've actually done a cool thing where we can see that if you're in the inbox and you've been there for a couple of seconds, we're actually going to do a little pop-up that says, like, tell us your feedback. What do you think? So if you do get that and have feedback, please do submit it, because I'm literally reading every single one and we're making improvements based off of that. Some of the things that have been suggested so far is to save the collapsed state. So this sidebar, because it has a lot of information, we allow you to collapse it if it's not relevant to you in that moment. So we can save that to your users so we know what your preferences are. That's been one piece of feedback. Also allowing you to rearrange the section. Maybe you don't care about property details, but you want the reservation financials to be front and center. We hope to allow you to do some things like that one day. And in the future, what this is allowing us to do is maybe even give a little bit of that real estate to our vendor partners. So let's see, let me come up with a good example. Maybe you have a guidebook integration, and we might give that guidebook partner their own section that they can do whatever they want to in there. They might say, your guidebook has been clicked 5 times by this guest, or whatever it may be. So that's kind of like the future plans with this, is to be able to give some of the real estate to our vendors so that they can get you the information that you need from their app, all within the Hospitable inbox, so that you don't have to jump around to a million apps all the time. Okay, that's that. Moving on to apps. We have a new app to announce today, and that is Breezeway. So Breezeway's property operations and experience platform helps you to coordinate and communicate detailed work at your property. So think of this like cleaning tasks, maintenance tasks, checklists, safety inspections, all of the things. So you can now integrate Hospitable with Breezeway, and they will pull in your Hospitable properties and reservations to automate those tasks for you. They've had kind of an integration with Hospitable for some time using iCal. And so now this different type of integration will give them a lot more functionality to be able to integrate them in a better way. So definitely check that out if you're already using Breezeway, or if you'd like to use Breezeway, you can go to our apps page, click operations, and Breezeway will be there. And there's a lot more detail on their apps page, so you can learn what it is that they're doing. That's all I got. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you very much, Emily. Great summary of Breezeway there. Okay, so we are now moving into the Q&A section of the discussion. Sorry, a couple of people with their hands raised already, so firing straight in. AB, welcoming you on stage first. Hello.
Hi, how you doing? Oh, can you hear me?
Hey, hello,
Yep,
AB.
we can hear you.
Yes, I muted myself too. How can we help you today?
Awesome. So quick question. First off, I'm continuing to grow my Airbnb business. I'm at 5 Airbnbs in 2 months, hopefully growing to 8 in the next month. I'm utilizing Hospitable for all these automated messages, and it's amazing. Quick question. So is there a way we can automate to our cleaners when 6 or like 4 or more guests stay at a property or whatever that is for that property so that they know how many are coming to leave out extra linens, extra pillows, extra towels. So like right now in my reservations, I'm able to do, I do filters. So like more than 4 guests, and it shows me all those upcoming reservations with more than 4 guests. What I'm currently doing is I'm creating an automated message for like, I guess, before check-in, and it sends to the cleanings team and says, hi, more, reservation tomorrow. And I do, the percentage sign guest number guest so that they know each one. But like, I guess it's a lot of messages each time. So I'm just maybe try to like filter it out just for 4+ guests.
I think one way you could achieve that is actually with custom codes. Now, I know they exist under guest experience, but you can basically reuse the same custom codes over in your operations templates and your operation messaging rules. So you can create a custom code under guest experience that would say, for example, if there are more than 4 or 6 guests, include another paragraph, and then you reuse that in your notification, emails, or text messages, mostly emails though,
Yeah,
for doing those things. So
characters.
that you can have that variability, exactly. You can have that variability on the email based on the number of guests that are claimed. So that would be one solution to what you're bringing up.
Is there a way to like automate it so like it doesn't send out every time? So if there's 4 guests, it doesn't send out anything. The second, if there's a reservation for 5 guests, then it'll send like it.
So
like
you have different ways of making that work. You can just use one custom code that will, for example, create one paragraph in your normal notification whenever you're informing your cleaners that there is another job coming their way ahead of the check-in or something like that. You can also create a specific rule that will have its own timing, its own audience, etc., and just use that custom code. If the custom code resolves to something that is empty, no message is going to be sent to tell them nothing. But
Okay.
that's basically for all listeners is a general rule is basically custom codes are a way to add another extra logic layer. You can basically go crazy, but if there is nothing to be sent, then nothing is going to be sent. So you can reuse that. Now, depending on what your needs are, if you really want to have an ad hoc specific message when there are different timing to be sent, then definitely knock yourselves out. You can use a custom codes for that.
Okay, perfect. So I'll play around with the custom codes. And then one last quick thing. Is there a way in the beginning of every town hall, maybe like I know all of us that are hospitable users are asking great questions. Is there a way we can like maybe do a checklist of, hey, AB asked this question last week, check, we took care of it. Or, Peter asked this question and, we said we were taking care of it. We took care of it. Like, just sort of like a checklist of, hey, by the way, last time in town hall, you asked this question, we took care of it.
Sorry, I'm a bit cut out right on it. I was not expecting something like this. What does mean taking care of? I mean, sorry.
Or fix the issue or, resolve the issue by implementing something.
That's what the town hall is about. That's what you hear from product managers about the issues that we have been fixing. And we provide really highlights. There is a product announcement channel internally. We have to select information that we're sharing with you. It's overwhelming for people that are working full time. I've took the last 2 days off. And yeah, you see Miles basically nodding very aggressively there. I took 2 days off. I had to take care of my daughter for the past 2 days. I basically have not opened Slack, and I know that basically there are some features I don't know about. There are some bug fixes that I don't know about simply because I didn't check that. Those town halls are already quite a lot to chew. I would not want to push even more into your direction. That's going to be quite overwhelming, but that's just my view. Andrew, want to interject?
I would also like to interject that, the goal of the town hall is not to have everything addressed that was brought up on the town hall in the next 2 weeks. It's just not, it's not possible.
Absolutely.
The
All right.
feedback is super helpful.
Mhm.
We try and make sure that we don't drop anything, but some things have to be prioritized over others. And some feedback is going to sit on a ticket for a while. That's just the way it works with limited resources. So yeah, I appreciate the sentiment. But yeah, we're going to continue to disappoint some
No
people.
worries. No worries.
Yeah.
There is a caveat there. If you invest $175 million, we promise we will not get a Honda Civic. And we put that cash into software developers.
Awesome. No, I listen.
And a free
Everything is
Patagonia
going
vest.
well.
Moving on. Thank you, IB, for bringing that
Thank
up.
you. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you very much. Okay, yeah, as PC said, moving on. So now we have Shireen welcoming you on stage. Hello.
Hi, thank you. Quick question. Love the platform, love the automation, kind of a newbie, probably within the first month of just working with the Airbnb platform. And we had a couple of breakdowns, and I apologize. On this particular town hall, I got in about 15 minutes after you started, so I apologize on that. Back-to-back meetings, but we had a little snafu, and I guess Airbnb was doing updates on Friday night, and what was happening is it was disconnecting our ability to keep our calendar open. Like we're co-hosting from a landlord, and they have a prep date before and after their reservations. And of course, we had all our dates open to kind of just fill some widow days, orphan days, if you will. And what was happening on Friday night was Airbnb did an update, and then we couldn't adjust the calendar. Like we couldn't open the prep days. We couldn't, there was something else too, but it was just, this happened 2 weekends in a row, and it obviously affected our ability to get more immediate reservations. So I don't know if you guys did any updates that is throwing
Not
the
on
algorithm.
Fridays.
I'm sorry?
Not on Fridays. Sorry, Shireen. So you're saying your basic, Jen, maybe, are you familiar with this? Okay,
I was gonna say we didn't have any like major incidents that would have prevented you from updating your calendar. I was wondering, Sharon, you were kind of saying like you couldn't update an Airbnb. Were you getting some sort of error on Airbnb saying that you couldn't update your calendar, or what was happening there?
Yes, thank you for asking. Yes, exactly. And so thank you, because all of this is new and I don't know what to tell you and what not to tell you, right?
Sure.
So I really appreciate it. Thank you. You're right. It was like, yeah, you can't, it was something like an error message. So what we had to do was disconnect from you guys, which we don't want to do, right? Like, oh my God, the auto messaging. We had to disconnect and let it, settle in a little bit, give it a little time. And then we were able to access and open up these calendars. So then once we got back into Hospitable a couple days later after the weekend, the next Friday it did the same thing. It was like, oh my God. So I don't know if anyone else is having this, or is it just us? Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, I think it might be a company. Let's take a look together. Shoot us a chat after town hall from your account, or email us. We'll take a look at your Airbnb account specifically.
Oh
I have a feeling there
gosh,
might be
awesome.
Yeah, there might be
Yes,
something
you
else
to bring it
connected
up
that's doing
here.
that, but
I know it helps to talk to a human, right? Like, thank you so much.
of course, we will
Sweet.
look with you.
Thank you so much.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Shireen. And thank you, Jen. Okay, so moving on, inviting Lloyd on stage now. Hello, Lloyd.
Hello. Just a couple of things for me. I've put in the chat a link to the sort of the feedback. I think I raised a ticket a while ago, but it's around the search widget. The search widget automatically assumes that you have more than one property. Is there a way so that it can recognize that if you only have one property, it'll block off the calendar? Because at the moment you have to go through to a booking page to go to the booking widget to then see what days are available. In the search widget, because I only have one property, it doesn't necessarily block off the days in the search widget. Is it possible to have both?
Not at the moment, as you realized. Yeah. So yeah, one of the things that we when we talked about moving off of the former vendor for the sites, one of the main things we want to do in the initial updates for new features on sites is to have a specific template for single property sites. That was, one of the long-standing feature requests that we just couldn't do under the previous relationship. So yeah, once the dust settles on this migration, which we're still kind of actively in, we're looking at like analytic features, tracking your site performance, those kind of things that we were limited on, different SEO, like Facebook tracking pixels, Google Tag Manager, making all of that functionality available, as well as a single property site, which will do exactly what you're describing.
Okay, so that's fine.
Yeah, this is coming, yep.
Yeah, okay. And then the second one, on Booking.com, if you don't respond, because at the moment, Hospitable doesn't. It doesn't well, so in Booking.com you have to say Mark has done if there's no response required to a conversation in Booking.com. You have to click Mark has done. Hospitable obviously doesn't do that, and it affects your response rate in Booking.com. Is there a way to have a feature just if there's no response required, to have a button say Mark is done or something like that? Or do you have to just keep saying the last word, like thanks, okay, thanks again, if they respond?
That's a good hack. For now, we don't want you to have to do that. We don't want you to ever have to leave Hospitable to participate in a conversation. So I think this is something that's getting worked out. I don't know, Alyssa, if you have any comment. I don't know if we've looked at this yet. We were just talking about today, looking at an update we've been thinking for a long time, like read receipts. So being able to see better granularity on when a message is sent, when it's received, when it's read. We won't have that for all platforms, but this seems like a similar kind of update that we would do with that project. Alyssa, do you have any context?
I don't have a lot of context. I was going to say that that's a great suggestion, and we need to check in with Booking.com to see if they allow us to send that information over. If they do, then it's something we can do.
Okay. Yeah, because if you go into Airbnb, so if you comment here and then you go into Airbnb, everything remains unread. So Airbnb, you don't have to do a mark as done, but Booking.com, you do have to put mark as done. So I just have to go into there and click that so that my response rate remains high. Otherwise, it says they'll respond in like 3 hours,
Yeah.
Yeah, no
No,
worries.
thanks for flagging that for us, Lloyd.
Okay, no worries. All right, thank you.
Yep.
Great. Thank you very much, Lloyd. Okay. So next person up, I apologize. I'm going to attempt the name Gioti or Gioti. Inviting you on stage now to talk. Hello.
Thanks. You're right. This is Jyoti.
Thank you.
All right. So I'm very new to Hospitable. I manage properties in Calgary, about 15 properties, and I'm really enjoying it. Great platform and lots of things, right? So I have a little bit question about the direct side. So I have some of my clients, they want to only list in direct, not in Airbnb or other platform. Is there a way in direct, like we can just list in the Hospitable and just connect to the direct?
Not today. You can delist them from like Airbnb after you get them imported. Unfortunately, we don't have a way to create a property from scratch in Hospitable. I think it's something that's coming with the work we're doing for the Agoda integration. So we do intend to have this in the future, but today the hack you would do is you would have to ask your clients to add the property to Airbnb, and then they can delist, or they can just make the listing unavailable on Airbnb. So it's not rentable there, but we actually have to have that as a path to create the property for now.
Wow. Okay, that's a good idea. So I never thought about doing the delisting and then connecting that.
Yeah.
So I think that works for now. Thank
Okay.
you. And I have another question related to direct as well. So right now, like in Airbnb, there is a co-host and cleaning payout separate we can do, right? And is there a way in the system that also we can separate that, like co-host payout of let's say 20% or 15%, whatever, and the cleaning fee separating? And I had the last question related to direct. So that is, templates are great right now, but those are not customizable, right? So example, favicon and then the backgrounds and multiple things we cannot customize. Is there something coming up in future that we can do more customization using the Hospitable templates?
Cool. So yeah, I think your second question is about split payouts. And it's something we've had for a long time on the to-do list. Haven't gotten to yet. I think we've got some higher priorities just above it, but we've got all the pieces in place. So there's a lot of our like property managers that have all of their property owners, have added payout methods and they pay directly to them and the invoice. We could obviously combine, one or more payout methods into a single payment and do a split payout. So we're excited to do that. We haven't gotten to it yet, but it's on our roadmap. And yes, absolutely, improved templates and ability to customize templates more is coming. I can't give you an ETA on that. I kind of went through the priorities we have above that on site service. You're always obviously welcome to do a self-hosted site as well, meaning you build your own custom site and you use our widgets, and that gives you complete control over your site. But yeah, we definitely want to have higher performing, more extensible, more customizable sites coming online as soon as we can get to them.
Awesome. Thank you, Andrew.
Yep.
That's all for the direct, but I have another question related to parent-child, right? So I have property in Airbnb example, and then there is a child property in there, and the same child property listed in booking.com. And then I needed to put that booking.com blocked if that is booked from child property from Airbnb. How do I do that? It was not blocking there. So is there a way to put that booking.com under the child and it blocks automatically, or how that works?
So this might not be a direct answer, but I'm going to try to give context of parent-child as a whole, which hopefully will answer. So the way that we do parent-child on our side is we require the parent and all of the children to be their own distinct properties. So if you have a duplex where you rent out the whole house in side A and side B, that would actually be 3 properties. And then you can configure the parent-child relationship within Hospitable, and we would push out those blocks accordingly. Do you have your parent-child relationship defined in Hospitable or just in Airbnb right now?
In Hospitable. I created like parent-child in Hospitable, and the child was only listed in booking.com. So I want to block the booking.com if that is blocked in the Airbnb child. Or if that is blocked it is booked in booking.com, then I want to block in Airbnb.
Yeah, so that should be how it's working if you have both of those listings as a part of the same property. If you want, I can take a look at your account with you. I'll look up your name real quick and see if I can find you, and I can reach out and we can take a look at your setup to make sure it's correct.
Thanks, Emily. That's all I had. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Okay, so now moving on, we have Alex. Welcome on stage, Alex.
Hi, thank you for having me. We have 70 properties with you guys. We absolutely love your service. So I hope this is an easy fix. Oftentimes, like, I will navigate to the property section to look at a specific property. And then from that property, I will go to the calendar because I want to see that specific calendar for whatever reason to check up on whether or not it's performing. But when I click on calendar, like the property specific calendar, there's just no way that I know of to go back to the property without having to click on properties again, type in that specific property, and then click on it. Is there any way that you could create like a back arrow to go back to that specific property from the specific calendar view? Does that make sense?
Yes, and I'm just laughing because we saw this specific piece of feedback from someone else, and I don't think it was you. Maybe it was you. I don't know. We heard this earlier this week. Yeah, we heard this earlier this week, and like you're right, that's a little bit silly. We talked about it as a product team a couple of days ago, and determined that we do want to figure out how to make that easier. Because yeah, there's just no link. So it's kind of on us at this point to just determine what that UI looks like. I can't share timing. I don't know timing. It's going to depend on resources, but we do want to do that so that you can get from the single property calendar to the properties page a lot easier.
Like realistically, it doesn't, individually, it's not a lot of time, but it does. So,
yeah. So can you give a little bit more context about like what exactly you're doing when you're going through that flow? Like you're looking at the property, you go to the single property calendar, like are you trying to edit stuff on the property at that point? What exactly do you want to do when you're going back to the property?
If I'm looking at a specific property to, for instance, I want to check the status of its individualized listings. Like, does it, did my team do a good job of adding, all, that particular property on all the specific platforms? And then I'm like,
Gotcha.
okay, all right, is it booking? Am I getting bookings from VRBO? Am I getting bookings from booking.com, et cetera? Well, then my next thing that I'll do is I'll check the calendar.
Yeah.
And I just can't go back. You know what I mean? So,
Okay, interesting. Yeah, thanks for the context. That's good to know.
so, since I have you guys here, did you guys add a thermostat yet, or are you guys still working on it? Maybe you guys answered this earlier. I apologize. I'm like very eagerly waiting for the thermostats.
Oh, me and you both. But in the meantime, we wanted to make sure that we can get the device dashboard really set, working really well, get everything in there we want it to. We can be set for that. And then the next device that we're working on that we want to add is going to be thermostats.
Okay.
So
did you guys announce a particular brand?
No. I will say that Ecobee, Honeywell, Nest are some of the top ones that we hear. But as I was kind of saying in the chat, highly recommend anybody who wants thermostats, please go to feedback.hospitable.com, vote on the thermostat that you would like next. When your votes in there really do help inform our decision making in what's going to be most impactful for you, what's going to help you the most. So please be sure to vote on.
Keep rocking, guys. Appreciate you.
Cool. Thank you very much, Alex. Okay, so next up, we have Julie coming on stage. Hello, Julie. Hello.
Sorry about that. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry. Okay. Yeah, so I'm very new to the Hospitable platform. I just joined this week. I manage 9 properties myself for various owners, and some of them are owned by myself as well. One of the things that we're finding and setting up, and I do have a call set up with one of the representatives on Friday, is I work with a team of 2 other hosts that also have about 5 to 10 listings each. So together we have about 30 listings, and we're trying to figure out how to integrate those listings onto the platform to where we could all share the data and support one another. I don't know if it's been addressed or if this is something that is already going on that I'm just not aware of. So that was my first question, because when I actually tried to set up my Hospitable account, it said I could not set it up because I'm currently linked to another Hospitable account, which is one of the my team members that I work with. So that's my first question.
Yeah, I think right now that's sorry, there's a bit of echo, Julie. I think I'm gonna ask you to mute yourself. Thank you very much. We can unmute immediately after. Sorry. So that's something that's been escalated. So far, we don't really have a solution. So I don't really expect that we will be having a solution for this. You may still want to talk about that to the rep. I believe Vera, Evelina, Blue, Brian, or maybe George and Nikki. So there are quite a few people now that we've added to these days to basically review that and especially advise you on what might be the best setup to be able that. I think really you are going to be able to access those Hospitable accounts. They may require a few extra steps than what we would like to do, but you will be able to service those, but maybe not exactly under a simple setup that we would like to have.
Okay, I think my meeting is with Brian.
Good.
So okay, so that answers my question. So there is not a capability to do that currently. Okay. The other question was, because us 3 hosts work together, we wanted to create a direct booking platform, direct booking website that could integrate all of our listings onto one page so that we can share previous guests' experiences with other guests that may see that we have other properties, maybe one in San Francisco Bay Area and then another one in Honolulu. There's different, but we want our current guests to be able to see what we have available. Is there going to be a way to integrate a website that has that can have multiple listings And then I get, of course, to make it more complicated with possibly multiple Hospitable accounts. If we have to merge to one account, I understand that that's probably the best way to go. But I just wanted to confirm and see if there's going to be a website design like that.
Julie,
Yeah.
if I may, if I may take precedence over Andrea,
Yes.
you seem to be working together with two other people that basically beat you to the punch and created a Hospitable account first. Are you inclined to basically merging your accounts together? Because that will actually give you a cheaper Hospitable per property and will unlock all of
Well,
those
I
things.
would, yeah, I would like to do that. I have one person objecting to merging them together. So two of us are on board
Okay.
with that.
It seems like
One
it's a
of them.
partnership with two people.
Yeah, it could be.
So yeah, because honestly, that's not a software problem. That's not an access problem. You're gonna be able to make it work. It seems like you need to have a conversation about why someone doesn't want to merge those accounts all together if you are in partnership.
So what you are saying is if we merge them together, we would be able to do this.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. We've been going through quite a few, property management companies restructure all the time. So we are in separation and breakups with husband and wives. We are basically merger of property management companies. It's crazy what's going out there. So we basically execute those things. We can merge the accounts together, no problem at all. I think for you, that would be the simplest from a technical perspective, but I don't think the technical is really the challenge here. And then you can achieve all your dreams. There will be always a secondary option to basically still allow you to access the other accounts that you need, but that's going to be extra steps that I believe overall will get you quite frustrated.
Okay,
but yeah,
got that. So just to ask the question again, is the direct booking website possible with multiple listings? Because we don't see that currently on the Hospitable site.
Would you like me to step in, Pierre? Yes, this is possible. Yeah, the sites they actually don't work well for single property sites. Your problem is not a problem that we have. So yeah, multiple properties, whatever's in a single account, you can scope any and all of those properties to a site. You can have multiple sites. You shouldn't have any issues with that, and you'll get a homepage, a landing page that has all of the properties that you've scoped to that site, and then they can click on any of those to book at the property.
Would there also be QR codes available for that site, or is that something we could create on our own?
You would create those on your own.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, you can do promo codes, like if you're trying to track that and like track performance or sharing of your marketing campaigns. But yeah, QR codes work as well.
Okay, great. That's great
Right.
information.
Thanks, Julie.
Thank you very much, Julie. Appreciate your questions. Okay, so we're very tight on time today. Some of us have a hard finish, so we're just going to ask one or two more people to come on stage. So Andrew, inviting you on stage now. Hello, Andrew.
Hello, Andrew. You can unmute yourself. It's the
yes. All right. Can you hear me? Okay. Sorry about that. I'm not sure if this is the same thing Julie was asking, but let me ask it in a different way.
Depends. Are you working with Julie?
No. I'm not working with Julie. No. I have a Hospitable account that I own with my properties in it. Okay. I also have a property manager that helps me because I'm out of state a lot. She has other clients, and that other stuff for her is kind of a nightmare compared to my stuff because I'm using Hospitable and she's not with her other clients. So currently my properties are in my Hospitable account that I own. She has login information to log in and be, a host or a manager or whatever. I forget how it's classified because I've been using Hospitable for quite some time. I don't remember, what it took to give her access. But based on what she's got going on with this other stuff in her life, with these other properties she's managed for other people, I told her, you got to get with Hospitable. I mean, there's so many things wrong with the way the rest of your business is set up. It's a nightmare for her. One of her clients is getting totally ripped off by Airbnb.
Andrew, can I cut you off real quick? Because I think the quick answer is totally yes, we can do that. It sounds like she's a secondary user on your account. You're the primary user. She's added as a secondary. she can also be a secondary user on other people's accounts. So if she gets her other clients on Hospitable, she could manage like multiple accounts from the same
Well,
login.
I think the best solution would be that she have her own Hospitable account where she's a primary user, and she, would put all her other properties, because her other owners are not involved. I'm very involved with my business. Her other owners are not involved. So if it's possible, the best thing for her would be if she has her own Hospitable account that she owns, she brings the other listings that she manages into that account. But would she be able to also bring the listings, my listings, into her account without interfering with my Hospitable account? Or would she need to?
That would be a little bit more tricky. You can't be a primary user and a secondary user under the same email address on Hospitable. We don't have a great way to display that. So she could remain a secondary user on your account and sign up for a Hospitable account or a different email and manage things kind of in two places. But we can also chat with you offline and kind of see what the setup is and what she's got going on and kind of like find a good solution for her too.
So she could have a Hospitable account, which she just uses a different email for the login. It'd be like she's a different person.
Right, exactly, yeah.
Okay, but and for me, the important piece is, would it interfere? Would there be any potential if she was working with my listings in her Hospitable account? Would that interfere with either of us if one of us stepped in and does the messaging or like manages something in Hospitable? Would it cause a co-host?
Is she a co-host on your Airbnb listings?
She's actually the host on the Airbnb and VRBO listings, even though I own the properties. I don't like that, but it's a long story I'm not going to bore you with.
Yeah.
There was a really quick thing that needed to happen.
Sure.
I spent over $1 million, and someone, there was a big problem with the person. And so I just needed her to get it up and running in her name as soon as possible when we started working.
Hey, Andrew.
Together.
It looks like you are going to be opening up a few accounts. So what I'm going to do, I dug up your Hospitable account. I'm going to reach out personally. Someone from the sales team is going to help you detangle this entire mess, help you divorce or remarry, whatever you're doing, so we can actually make sure you're set up completely correctly. I'll send you an email in a couple of minutes so we can book a call and see how we can help you sort it out. Okay?
Perfect. That's perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
You guys are doing a great job. I appreciate it. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Awesome.
Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Vera. That's sometimes the kind of thing that we have to deal with. It's basically, what are you doing here, and what do you want to do here? That's perfect. Thank you, Vera, for everyone. Okay, we bring this to an end, Matt. There's plenty of work ahead, especially ahead of the online conference. So thank you very much, Matt, for taking care of it. Thank you for everyone in support, and Jen and Kevin for going through the chat and the Q&A. And thank you to the entire product team. So yeah. Thank you very much. See you in 2 weeks. Same place, same time? Or is that going to be... No, yes, we do. So we're going to be very busy during the month of April because we have more town halls and an online conference in between for extra super direct content and AI content. So I'm really looking forward to that. Imagine a stage for myself just for 45 minutes to talk about AI, for example. Like the entire team is scared. Thank you very much. Have a great rest of your day.